Thank you for subscribing to the channel. It means a great deal. And for those who haven't subscribed yet, it would be much appreciated if you'd hit that subscribe button, share the videos, the channel. What I want to talk to you about today is should you, or why shouldn't you, pay for book reviews? Now, what I get asked a lot is, how do you get book reviews before your book's released? Well, in most cases, depending on where the book is being published, there's a thing called an ARC reader, Advanced Reader Copies, they receive from the publisher. Now, you could do the same thing. Say, for instance, you didn't want to publish your book, but you didn't want to actually release it for, I don't know, let's say a month or 2 months away. So you've kept that quiet. You may have even put a release date on for 2 months from now. So now what you do is you buy yourself a load of author copies. Your book's still not released, or proof copies, and you send those books to people you know, or publishers would say they're genuine reviewers. Are they genuine reviewers? Well, if I was a publisher and I had a list of 50 reviewers that I wanted to send the book to, would I want to send a book to someone I knew or heard about who often gives a 1-star review? Well, of course not. So I'd only pick my reviewers who are going to give me a minimum of a 3, mostly 4s and 5s. And yeah, there'll be another exception of a 3. There won't be anything less. Now, if some reviewer has put a 3 on, which isn't the end of the world, if someone has put a 3 on, it may be that they've done their best to actually like the book, regardless of whether it's likable or not, and just couldn't put their name to it. Well, that's fair enough. But in most cases, these reviewers, they're not genuine. They may like the subject, they may follow the author, they may worship the author of a particular book, and the chances of them giving it a 1 or a 2 are pretty slim. The books just wouldn't be going out to them in the first place. So once the books have gone out and 2 months have passed, your book, or whatever, however long the duration is, and you eventually get round to publishing your book, to releasing it on Amazon or whatever platform you've put it on, you send your reviewers, your ARC reviewers, an email. The book's live. Get your reviews on. And of course, they're all going to get these 50 people or however many. They're all going to get this email and they're going to react straight away that day probably. And they're all going to put this great review on. So, a book can be a day old and have 50 reviews, a day old and have 200 reviews. And you see it a lot. You see it a lot in not just fiction or popular authors. You'll see it in low content books. You'll see it in lower content books, I should say. And you'll see it in cookbooks and non-fiction books, to-do books, where somebody's built up a huge database and their family might be hundreds of people all over the world, or their friends and family. And they've set up this big thing. They've gone to work. They've spent 6 months building up this file of ARC readers. And chances of them reading it is pretty slim. If they're that close, they're just going to bang a good review on. And there's going to be words to say, well, don't all put all 5-star reviews on, because let's say 100 all 5-star reviews on a book that somebody reads and finds it mediocre. Even all 5-star reviews anyway, just doesn't look great. It's not bad. It's not a bad thing. But people will be suspicious. So the best thing to do in that case is get people to put the odd fours in there. Give it a mix of fours and fives. They're great reviews, fours and fives, and you're going to get a little one or two maybe to put a three on. But obviously, you're going to instruct everyone to stay away from ones and twos. So that's how it's done. It's done quite easily, really. Is it underhand? Is it ruthless? Is it wrong? Well, and like I say, would I do it? Well, I don't know. I've not been in that position, and I've suffered for it. Now, I'll tell you what I mean. Now, the worst time, the most dangerous time for your book, if it's going to be a good one and it's going to, well, you'd expect it to be, and it was going to compete against other books that are doing well, maybe in the top 100 or whatever. You've done your little research, you've checked out what's doing well, and you've gone for that niche. So you've put the book out there with no reviews. Now, straight away, it's caught people's attention. You may have had an email list, or you may have, not so much an email list, you may have had social media, you may have put it out there and said, look, I've got this new book, you put it on your, and everybody's having a little look at it. And all of a sudden, people are starting to buy it, but there's still no reviews on it. But it's moving up the charts. Now, this is a time when your competition could and does actually hit your book. They will, especially if it's an ebook, it's even easier because they can just order it and they've got it within a few minutes, and they can leave a review and they can return for a refund or whatever. It's cost them not as much as a paperback or a hardback book would. And straight away, your book's out there. It's got no reviews. Your first one's a 1-star or a 2-star or whatever. And it's from someone who might say, I wanted to like this book. I really wanted to like this book. It's this same old sort of lines. And then they go on about what's wrong with the book. And none of it actually makes sense. This could be your competition. And that's why it's so dangerous to have no reviews to start with, early on. Because if you've got 30 or even 20 or 30 really good reviews, or ratings even, and they're in the 4s and 5s, the odd 3s, then you're going to be able to soak up a couple of 1-star reviews. It's not going to do as much damage as having no reviews, other than a couple of 1-star reviews. Straight away, they're taking you out of the market. They're really, or trying to, and they're doing the best at doing it. And I've been hit like that, and it's hit some really good books of mine that have gone out, and they're good, they're better than the competition, and they've been hit by the competition. Now, you're not going to give their real names. They're going to have people to do that for them. They may have a string of people to do that for them. The same people that might go around in social media, say, for instance, all sharing their book and doing whatever else. They have a network. Or, if they're small time, they may just get a couple of friends to do it themselves. And it's ruthless. It's wrong. It's not good. And it's heartbreaking. You spent weeks or months working on a good book, even longer, and you get battered like that. There's nothing you can do about it. Amazon aren't interested anymore in removing reviews or even looking into them. Now, there are services too, where you can get reviews. You can share reviews. You can join these sites, and I'll review 10, and if 10 people review mine and all this, you get tokens for that. And again, is it wrong? Well, no, it can't be wrong, can it? If everybody's doing it, or virtually everybody's doing it, and it's part of the business. Publishers do it. Like I said before, all publishers are doing it. Regardless whether they say, no, these are proper reviewers or not, they are doing it. And then you've got the New York Times bestsellers, people like, things like that, Sunday Times bestsellers and all that. You've got people buying up the books, or their friends of friends who's put them in the magazines or newspapers or whatever else. They're well connected. And yeah, it's been shown that for certain number one bestsellers in the US, they've actually, well, not just the US, but it's some of these New York bestsellers I read about, where they'd actually spent hundreds of thousands, if not millions, on buying up their own book from all over the country and getting to the number one spot, and then making more money because of it, or at least making the money back, or just having a number one bestseller. And so everybody's doing it. I haven't done it, and I know many of you haven't done it. I don't like it myself. I don't like the idea of doing it. So I suffer the consequences of having competition get in there and attack. And yeah, it can really bother you. It can really bother you. But then you kind of get used to it. You kind of expect it. So when you first release a book, you can't get your hopes too high. Well, I can't get my hopes up too high. I published the book, and then I see it moving along. I see that plenty of sales have happened, maybe 20 or 30 sales in a day or more. And it's second, third, fourth day, whatever. And then I'm not getting too excited about the idea because you know that your competition is watching. You know it. And unfortunately, that's just the way it goes. So would I buy reviews? It's a tricky one. I don't know. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I don't know. I've not been presented with it. I won't go online and look at these groups. I'd be too bothered about losing my account with Amazon by getting reviews or dealing with companies that are blacklisted in a way with Amazon. The choice is yours. I understand why people do it. It seems all the companies do it. All the big boys do it, and girls. And yeah, that's it.